Hello.
Hello. So you solved the problem, right? You're on the telephone. What happened?
It's a connection problem. So it's
Yeah.
when it rains in Vienna, so we always have the problem.
Okay, you have problem when it rains?
Slow connections.
Yeah. That's how we deal with technology right now. That's perfect.
You're perfect. How are you guys?
Yeah, fine. So we are all here, like all the speakers are here, Trudy, Claudia, Can.
Let me see everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, now I can see.
Yes, okay. Sorry, I started the screening also on YouTube. So if someone wants to see it later, that will be recorded on YouTube. So I don't want to wait for other people coming because they will have the chance to watch the first part. So let's begin with the talk now. Welcome everyone. Like in our previous meetings, like in our previous conversations, there were more people. I guess in Turkey we turned back to normal and everyone is working now. Before everyone was at home and connecting like 20 minutes before the talk to get a space for the talk. Now I think people prefer to watch it later. So that's why I want to start like immediately. So welcome, first of all. For the ones who doesn't know, I'm Bengü, the director of Mixer Gallery. And today we are making the opening of our second online exhibition, which is called Art on Screen. This exhibition is actually the first of the series of a video exhibition that we are planning to do in the future years as well. Every year we want to make an exhibition about video. But because of the pandemic, we had to convert it in a digital format. So I want to thank all the artists who collaborated in this exhibition with us. We are so happy to have all you here. Today, actually, parallel to the exhibition, we are going to make many talks. So this is the first talk, and today we are together with Trudy Elmore, Can Büyükberber, Claudia Large, and Ozan Türkan. Thanks for coming, guys. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
So it's very nice because we are in different places. Ozan is in Vienna. Claudia is also in Vienna. Can is in Izmir. We are in Istanbul, and Trudy is in Toronto. So I'm really amazed about what's happening in this pandemic time. We can connect more. So this exhibition is also about this connection, actually, because this problem that we are facing now is a problem that the whole world is facing. So we wanted to use this chance to bring together the artists and create a dialogue between the artists, institutions, and we are experiencing this process all together in a similar way. So we thought it would be great to share these experiences and continue producing and sharing with people. That's why we decided to make such an exhibition. So we invited six of artists that we are working together before. Like Ozan, we have been working together with Ozan, I think for 5 years or 6 years, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Can is the first time that we are working together with. So we invited 6 artists from Turkey and asked them to invite artists from other countries that they work together with or they advise us to work together with. So that is how we reached Claudia, Trudy, and the other artists that we have not worked together before. So this is how we created the exhibition. Before we started to talk, I want to start with showing what we created actually. So what is this exhibition about? This is actually a website, like our website. I'm going to share a screen with you. Yes, there is a screen. So this exhibition will be open until the 15th of August, so almost like 2 months. And you can see it on our website, on our Vimeo account, and also at a platform called Kust Matrix. So first of all, I will start with the website. So when you see our website, there's a tab called Exhibitions. And when you get on the exhibitions, there is the link for the Art on Screen exhibition. Oops, can you see it? You all can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an introduction about the exhibition. And here you can see the videos of the artists and some information about their artworks. And when you click on this link, you can go and see more details about the artworks. Right now it doesn't work, but it normally works. Yes. Can you see the other page, or are you still in the art on screen page? Are you on the art on screen page?
No, it's blank.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry again. When you share it with Zoom, it sometimes creates problems. So I won't open the videos and I won't click on the link so that we don't have any problems. But here you can see all the videos by clicking on them, or you can also go up to you.
Bangu is frozen. Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah.
I think so. Bang is gone.
Oh no.
Hello, Claudia. Nice to see you. It's been a time. You
Sorry,
know,
guys.
Vienna is a small city. I can't see you. Hi, John. Nice to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you too, Ozan.
Big fun. Hi, Trudy. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Ozan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ozan. So can you? I think. Sorry for this technical problem. I will.
Nah, it's okay.
Yeah. I'll get back to the website.
These things happen.
Yeah.
I've given a lot of talks on, how great digital art is, and every time there's always like some technological malfunction.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true. Like whenever you make also an exhibition with digital art, like there's always problem until the opening. So after the opening, they all work. So,
Yeah.
okay, now I think I'm sharing the website. I won't click on anything anymore, but when you go down to the website, I want to show this. There is a link here to a platform called Kunstmatrix. So we created the exhibition in a 3D platform. If you want to see it that way, you can also visit there. I will just show that part as well, but I won't click on anything again. You will make your own tour. It works better in Chrome or Firefox.
Yeah.
So when you enter the exhibition, or you can also have a guided tour. So here you can see all the videos uploaded in the space. And when we created this, actually, we said that, okay, maybe we should make it in a physical platform as well. So you can get closer to the works and then click play, and they will play. It's not moving, so I will stop sharing again. So
looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, I think
Very
this is really
cool.
fantastic, and this is really a personal experience. I advise you to go and watch all the videos by yourself. And today we are with Claudia, Ozan, Can, and Trudy, and they will show their works. I will try to make screen share on Zoom as well. I hope it works this time. So let's start with you guys. So I want to start to ask like how you started to produce your works, what's your background, and what kind of education you got, and what kind of artworks you produce. So we can start with Can. Can was in San Francisco, and just before the pandemic, I think he came back to Turkey, to Izmir, and he is now in Izmir. And he's a visual artist working on immersive audiovisual experiences, blurring boundaries between physical and digital spaces. he received his master's degree in art and technology from San Francisco Art Institute as a Fulbright scholar and been selected to Autodesk's Pier 9 and Adobe's AR artist residencies and exhibited in many museums, galleries, and media art festivals around the world. And he also collaborated with some musicians and like some institutions like Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. So this is a small introduction about you, John, and I would be happy if we can hear more about your background and what kind of works you produce.
Sure. Thank you, Bengu. Actually, that's pretty much it. I'm that person that you just described, but yeah, I can try to add a little bit more information. Can I share my screen?
Yes, I think you're also co-host. Can
Okay,
you
cool.
try?
So
yeah,
this is actually from my keynotes, but it is a video. I just prepared this so that it's just easy. It just plays in the background. Like Bengu said, I've been working in this field for maybe like almost 10 years now as an independent artist. I've been using digital art techniques and computers and softwares as an extension of my creative process since my high school days. Back then, I was super inspired by like movies, sci-fi movies, and I was inspired by like visual effect techniques and things like that. And then after I started to work with computer, I learned about these 3D softwares and movie editing and things like that. And back then, my first study was in physics. And I wasn't really sure where I wanted to, go with that. So, but at the same time, I was working in the field in Istanbul with, for movies and music videos and stuff like that. Then I decided, okay, this is the field I'm more passionate about. Then I need to study something about it. And then I applied to Bilgi University's Visual Communication Design department, where I was introduced to new media art, and we had this beautiful museum in the school. So that was the first time I started to present my personal work in that more artistic context. And during my studies in visual communication design, I also drew some inspiration from physics as well. So I started to experiment with more with space and projection techniques that led me to, my interest in immersive media. And then gradually I explored like different ways of exhibiting work and creating immersive work. It was first architecture, then geodesic domes and 360 displays became another interest. At the same time, and then I was moving to San Francisco in 2015. During then, VR was like booming. It was super popular in there as well. So being there, in a tech hub really supported me to explore both the technical side of it and have platform to, exhibit these kinds of work. And then I also started to explore I'm always interested in that relationship between physical and digital spaces. So taking something from physical space and transporting that to digital, or bringing a digital sculptural idea from digital space to physical using 3D printing methods or like laser cutting, those kind of digital fabrication techniques became another interest. So I merged all those like media and aesthetic exploration in different settings, as you can see on this video right now. And then generally for me, in my like work that I produce at installations and audiovisual experiences, focusing on how like human perception works, playing with that, understanding the boundaries of that, and also like enabling people to maybe enhance their sense of environment or their presence in spaces by using these technologies, so that I can take the audiences for a while from their like daily state of mind and guide them to a more like aesthetic, sensorial space using these type of like experiences and media. So that's basically what I've been doing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's really covered really well. And so we asked you to invite someone to this exhibition, and you invited Trudy. Trudy Elmore is from Toronto, from Canada, and she's mostly working on the intersection of mythology and technology, like in short. But it would be great to hear from you about your works and your background, Trudy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I had a different path than John. I was a hardcore Luddite, like really disagreed or didn't like technology. For me, the computer was something I used to check my email. And when I was young, I dropped out of high school. I moved to the country. I had a hobby farm, like goats and sheep and chickens. And I made biodiesel for years, just living in the forest. And then, I had some family issues that brought me out of the wilderness, and I had to come back to the city. So when I was in my late 20s, I enrolled in university, got my GED, got into school, and went to school for drawing and painting. And I was doing these like hyper surreal paintings when I came across the work of Zeitgeist, the Berlin studio. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but it blew my mind. It was my gateway drug to the digital sublime. I couldn't understand what it was I was looking at. And after some investigation, it was revealed to me that, oh, I'm looking at software. These are advanced software aesthetics in a contemporary art setting. Okay, so can I run the software on my laptop? No, I got to build a computer. And so, yeah, as much as like it was really off-putting to have to learn that, and I was so resistant, I did it, built a computer, and I haven't looked back. And it's just been a series of events that have dragged me deeper into the uncanny valley. And it's been great. So yeah, as Bengu mentioned, I'm really interested in myth building and how we build our own myths and master and meta narratives within our culture that inform our worldview and understanding. And so my work really plays in those realms. I do a lot of music videos, but I always collaborate with great musicians. So I've not had yet to compromise my artistic vision, which is I consider a massive blessing. And yeah, I don't have anything prepared to show you. I was hoping I could show you my latest and greatest music video, which have been the fruits of my June labor, but it's not downloading right now. So maybe I'll post it later, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Like, if you share it with us, we can also post it in our channels. That would be lovely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat ASAP.
Okay, thank you. And Ozan, like I think some of you also know Ozan. He's living in Vienna now. Ozan worked in many years in the field of multimedia and digital arts. He studied and practiced various art disciplines in Philadelphia, Salamanca, Florence, and Barcelona in collaboration with numerous institutions and art centers. After he graduated from the University of Salamanca, he received his master's degree in multimedia at Escola Superior de Diseño, Universitat Central de Catalunya, is it correct? In Barcelona, where he lived and worked many years as a new media artist, but now he's in Vienna. Yes, Ozan, it will be nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I have been living in different states, different countries. I started from UPenn, Philadelphia, and then I moved to Salamanca. And my main research is geometry, actually. It was starting from the secret geometry, then I met fractals, and then I put it on my main subject. It's my main research point. But the medium has changed. You know, my passion was printmaking in Salamanca. I am glad that I received basic education also, you know, from the perspective, drawing and everything. And printmaking was so fun for me, but when I moved to Barcelona and started my master's in multimedia, it it was called multimedia back then. I don't know, they changed it to new media, and French says art numérique. I think it's the best for me. You know, they always change it. But more theorists got in the topic, so they changed the name multimedia to new media. I like it. But my master's was multimedia, so we met coding, we met, you know, it was back before Facebook. I mean, there was no Facebook then. And you know, we were making animations, flash animations. Then we met the world of coding, and then moving images. Then all that happened then now we are here. You know, it was a long journey. It was very, very fun. And I really like it. I really like what I'm doing. But still, my main research subject is geometry of nature. So the fractals, how the nature creates the forms, you know, and it's generative forms. So I'm looking for, like, you know, sometimes like very starting with very simple code and to get something very, very complicated, but it is still simple, you know. So the nature does it every day and every moment, and then so it's my main practice. I used to, you know, show or make prints, digital prints. Then it was videos. Then it was interaction, and now we are creating 3D spaces with the geometry again, and the experiencer can experience this kind of spaces with the virtual VR glasses. So it's, you know, the medium changes, but I think for me it's always the geometry center of my research. So I think it's at some point I am at this point of my research using the virtual reality or 3D renderings and everything. But in the future, it can be some different medium also. For me, more important thing is the context and the idea and also story that we tell. You know, so we can use any kind of tool telling this story. The strongest part of the artwork, I think, is that anime, that story. So, but yeah, I really enjoy the new media and the tools that I'm using in my creative process.
Thank you very much. And
it's very fun.
Yeah, we can see it, like it fires from your eyes. So I think we will watch in 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe your fractal body series soon. But first, let's talk to Claudia. Welcome, Claudia. And Ozan invited you to this exhibition, but it's not the first time that you are exhibiting in Turkey, right? Like, okay, it's in digital platform, but like in a gallery from Turkey. I think you worked with Galeri Zilberman in 2014, right?
Yes.
In an exhibition by Shinano. So let me introduce you shortly. I'll read it in order not to forget anything. Claudia Large is a visual artist with a focus in site-specific video animation, collage, photography, and installation. From 2001 to 2008, she studied at Media Art and Sculpture at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. Since 2005, she has participated in various group exhibitions and festivals in Austria and abroad, and presented her work in solo and group exhibitions. Some of them are Tokyo Wondersite, Japan, Slout Foundation, Philadelphia, Weimar Art Festival, Centre Pompidou, Paris, Museum of Contemporary Art, Roskilde, Style Richard Herbst in Graz, and Anthology Film Archives in New York City. In March 2019, a monograph with Claudia Larcher's work has been published by De Gruyter. We would love to hear more from you about your works and your background.
Okay. Basically, you hear me?
Yeah.
Because
yes.
I don't work with them. Okay, fine. I mean, I moved to Vienna 20 years ago and started studying transmedia art, something like this it was called. So we could use all kinds of media, but I was always interested in the digital media. So it was easy available. I mean, it's for me to do animation was always cheaper than to use real film. So it was actually a very pragmatic choice to start with these kind of stuffs. And my main focus is basically in video animation that are based on photographs that I take by myself or I use found footage. So for the video I show at the platform, I did it 2011, and it was part of a residency in Japan. So I was interested in these different living situations. So although I'm based in Vienna, I always try to travel a lot just to get an idea. Also to shift perspectives on I mean, the contemporary art scene in Japan is slightly different than to Europe or the US. So yeah, so I mean, I do this for quite a long time. So I always, during my studies, I try to collaborate with also musicians. I did a lot of visuals in clubs. I mean, all the technology is changing so fast. So it never gets boring. So maybe I also post a recent work I did in the chat, because it's a little bit different how I work now. So at the moment, I'm working more on the ideas of architects rather than I was using kind of anonymous architecture before. So it's a little bit shifting right now.
Mm-hmm. So it will be great if you can share it on the chat box. Maybe meanwhile we can start by watching your video, Yama. So I will try to share the screen again. I hope it will work. Let's see. Oops. Wrong video.
Usually it looks a bit smoother, but
Yeah.
and there's also sound.
You don't hear the sound?
No.
Still no sound?
A bit. I mean, I can talk a little bit about it. So
Yes,
if
that
someone's
would be great,
interested,
yes.
because the sound is basically it's a very old piece from John Cage. And when I came to Japan, there were so many rules that you basically don't know. I mean, I did a lot of Japanese courses, but you never get you have to read in between the lines, someone told me very often. So for me, I use these, I merged two houses. I merged one house that I had to live in Japan, in Tokyo. And the other one was a house in Kyoto, a very traditional one. And I was fascinated by the architecture of the shifting walls. So you can actually open up your space and close it down. And I mean, it's the space is so limited that you use certain rooms for different purposes. And there were so many codes. I mean, also on these Japanese ukiyo-es, you have like these, the Fujiyama and the kois and all these different layers of their art and culture. That for me, it was like these stereotypes that I picked up as a foreigner. but in the video, it starts shifting from also these ideas you have from a country to the reality. So at one point you see the real fish instead of the pictures of fishes. And it also, the video with the sound, if you watch it, it's very uncanny maybe. So because it's also not a real space, it's mainly based on two-dimensional photographs I took that I combine in a three-dimensional space in the software, and that allows me to kind of create impossible architectures that you can imagine to live in.
It's gorgeous, Claudia. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And the sound that you don't hear now, it sounds very Asian.
Oh.
So this chunk cage piece is played inside of a piano. So it has this weird Asian touch, but it's basically from an American director. So yeah, so it's a composer. So it's this actually culture clash of all kinds of things. Yeah, and usually I show it as a projection really in the space. So I try to cover the whole wall. So you have the impression that you're actually in the architecture too. So you have a lot of details, a lot of close-ups. A lot of details that you actually, yeah, it's like the scales are more like Alice in Wonderland than in a real space, probably. So now there would be sound of water starting, dripping water.
I don't know why the sound doesn't work, but when we see this part of the video, it was our feeling. Oh, okay, this is how we feel right now in the houses, because when we were planning this exhibition, we were all in the houses.
Attacked by fish.
Yeah.
No, it gets the feeling that it's very claustrophobic because there is no way out, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's also the video is a loop, so you can read it as an endless loop as well, or show it as an endless loop. So it's really like a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you hear the drips of water.
Thank you.
So what was exactly, like, I know it's a difficult question, but you said previously that the art scene in Japan is slightly different than the art scene in Europe or US. So what was the basic thing that make you say this?
I mean, it's like this idea of arts and crafts. It's much more connected to the fine art scene. Mm-hmm. So I always have the feeling that it's in Vienna, it's a little bit uncool to do something proper. I mean, some people will kill me right now, I guess, but it was very floppy somehow, how you present stuff. And in Japan, everything was so perfect and nice. And I mean, they do amazing drawings, and it's technically, it's perfectly done. And then it's aesthetically very beautiful, but it's also deep. So it's, and it's very rare that people are allowed to study art. So friends of mine, they really told me that it's like make the decision to study art and to become an artist by itself is very unpolite, because the Japanese work and think as a collective. So to do something like egoistic, to show your stuff, and it's not very popular. So everyone I met had a really hard time. Yeah. So with the families mainly. So a lot of Japanese artists I know try to leave the country for several years. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's badly funded. I did this exhibition at Tokyo Wonderside. It's one of the very few Japanese institutions they have. So there's much more funding, for example, in Vienna. So it's quite easy to make an exhibition. I mean, we will see what will happen next, but I think the conditions, because I also lived in Berlin for a while, it's for me, it was very easy to live as an artist in Vienna because it's, I mean, right now I'm in my studio, which is also kind of funded by the city of Vienna. So they actually built artist studios in the 20s. So it's quite crazy.
It's amazing, yeah. Like I think it's also one of the reasons why most of the Turkish artists, especially working on digital art, is also moving out of Turkey because of the insufficient funds from the government and from private businesses. So I think it's really it's something that you need to get some funding to produce this kind of works that takes lots of time and lots of technological investment. So I think it's great that you are in Vienna and getting that support from the government. So let's move to Trudy's work. I think that will be nice. Trudy, can you share your screen? Maybe it's better. Maybe now we can hear the sound because my computer doesn't allow me to share the sound.
Okay. Did you want me to show 2020 or can I show something else?
You can start with 2020 and maybe you can show some more things related to that. Do you have it open on your computer?
I don't actually. And
okay. I can try.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. My studio is elsewhere and
okay,
so
no
I just
problem.
have my laptop. Yeah.
So the thing is, I might not have the sound, so I advise everyone to listen to the sound later on. Yes.
So I started making this, when did I start putting this together? Mid-March, and I had gotten COVID at the beginning of March, but we didn't know at the time it was COVID. I went to the doctor and they asked, like at the time I didn't have any respiratory symptoms presenting. I just had an intense fever and this like rash all over my feet or my toes. So they told me I had hand, foot, and mouth disease, sent me home. And at which point then the respiratory stuff started to happen. So I was really dealing with a lot in that moment. And I've never been that sick in my life. So I got over COVID and made this piece. But what was really concerning me is just how political a pandemic became, especially in North America. I don't know what it's like in Turkey, but there's this sort of, there's not sort of anything, but artificial intelligence is causing this massive divide and it's gamified. Like disinformation is gamified now. So, you know, if we have teams of engineers fighting for screen time or for attention, like fractions of seconds, and, you know, what's driving that is outrage or, you know, sensationalism. And you feed a pandemic into that same system and it just created a further divide. So things are quite tense. And our brothers to the south, it's a lot more tense, but it's a lot. So this was me trying to synthesize and work through some of those issues. The bodies, the color of the bodies changes and transforms and eventually recedes back into like the original state. Then there's this flock simulation. It's like a really simple algorithm. Sometimes the flock penetrates the bodies, other times it moves around it. And then I always use mirrors in my work, referencing technology and the black mirror. This everything is sort of mediated through our screens. And so I always have mirrors in my work. Also just aesthetically really pretty.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is 2020 and it's calming, it's chill, but it's also quite chaotic in its motion. why don't I show you my new thing? It's so,
Yeah.
it's really metal, and it's a lot more in line with my previous work. And I did it, I don't know if anyone's had the pleasure of using Unreal Engine in their work process. John, have you ever used Unreal? It's so powerful.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
I just started to explore Unreal, but I remember you showing me your work last year, the music video with the Unreal Engine that looked really super cool.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And right now I'm trying to work, well, I'm not trying to do anything, but I'm working with an artificial intelligence company out of LA, and we're creating AI agents for Unreal. So there'll be these like very interactive components that are self-generative and use like Taco AI generative. So they're generating voices, generating gameplay. It's going to be really cool. But that's my latest endeavor. So I am going to share screen. Do you mind if can I go ahead and do this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Select a window. Let's do that. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you hear it?
Ornity.
Can you hear it? Yeah?
No, we don't. Can you
You don't hear any?
Maybe it's me. Ah, yes, now yes.
I'm just going to fast forward it because it's a very long video and we don't really have the time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move it forward a little bit. So all of the imagery is directly riffing off occult mysticism. So all of the figures are tarot or imagery from like the Rider and Waite tarot deck, or my own personal mythology that I've been developing in my digital sculpture practice over the last 2 years. Anyways, really fun. It's so metal. I had such a great time making this. But yeah, latest and greatest thus far. So how do I unshare this? Stop share. Great.
Yes.
Cool.
So thank you very much for sharing it. So I again advise everyone to watch it from Vimeo so that you have the sounds, because I think sound is the most important part of this video art. So it really it makes it more meaningful because you cannot think about it without the sound. So sorry for this technical problem again. So
that's fine.
yeah. So let's move on to John's work then. Maybe this time Zeynep is going to share the screen with us, and John can talk about his Multiverse series. It's a series of digital sculptures. Oh yes, again we have the sound problem here, right?
So good.
I can make the sounds if you like.
Yeah, but we want it from scratch. The sound, make it from scratch.
In 10 minutes, we have 10 minutes to make.
Yeah, only it all started like this, no? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this middle one has a breathing sound. These are more like alien, atmospheric sounds. Yeah, so beautiful work, Trudy and Claudia. I really enjoyed it. So these are three pieces. Like I have three pieces in this exhibition from this series called Multiverse. This is a series of digital sculptures I produced in 2017, and at the time I was preparing this VR installation with 3D sculptures using 3D printing, and I spent a lot of time exploring, form ideas and sculptural ideas. And I also have very similar inspiration with Ozan. I'm very inspired by geometry and mathematics, and how things emerge in nature by these um, basic formulas and fractals. And something that inspired the series was higher dimensional geometry, like 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional spaces. I always found it fascinating to just dream about it, like how those spaces can feel like, how it can look like, because we're living in a 3-dimensional reality. We can mathematically describe those like higher dimensional objects, but we can't really comprehend how they can look like. So this series was an attempt after that sculptural, like 3D printing sculptural series. I felt like I was spending so much time with waiting for printing process and the material costs, and at the end the work lives as its photograph or documentation in most of the cases. And then I was also experimenting with these like photorealistic rendering techniques, and they pretty much look the same, but I could also able to add motion and do impossible things or play with the scale that I can't really do in real life. So it just freed me to explore like different like speculative installation ideas and form ideas in different scales, inspired by this like higher dimensions and biological objects and like the other like futurism, and like also how the future of art can look like when we have these technologies we don't have right now, maybe like holography or different like speculative materials we don't have right now that can do stuff that we can't really do in real life. So I was just exploring that. And also my previous work was mostly very site specific, and like longer experiences. But in this work, I was just doing more like sculptural approach, and I try to approach each piece like a kinetic sculpture installation. So I framed them all individually, and they're all like infinite loops. What can I say more? But this kind of way of working, especially in the context of like screen art or like art for screens, it just gave me different opportunities, because when I have a VR work, it needs to be exhibited in a certain way. When I have a, projection mapping piece, it just works on that specific location. But with this series, I produced like so much like digital artwork that found like different ways of being exhibited, either on online platforms. Sedition became a way to, made it accessible for like collectors in digital limited editions. I've worked with different, companies. They produce like digital frames. Some of these became a part of that. I licensed some of these content for like large scale LED displays. So, both technical and aesthetic, in addition to both technical and aesthetic and conceptual exploration, also it became an interesting experiment for me to explore these like digital ways of distributing art and making it, limited edition and being collectible and also playing with different like screen technologies. So that's what this series is about mostly.
Reach to more people. So do you have this crazy dream of realizing these big sculptures in real life? Like we also have,
Yeah,
are you searching for this
So
technology
rad.
as well?
Yeah, I always actually
course.
that's the source of my inspiration, because I literally saw some of these in my dreams, and
Yeah.
like I pay very close attention to my dreams, and I have a lot of like lucid dreams and out of body experiences and hypnagogic states, and all those weird things are happening since like since my childhood. And so when I was seeing one of these sculptures, like it was a bust size sculpture, morphing and like doing all these things you see now. When I saw that in my dream, I felt like, wow, this is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
I'm a very lucky person that I see this in my dream, so then when I wake up I can produce this stuff. So it's just I feel very fortunate to have those kind of vivid dreams. And of course I would love to produce them, in physical life.
Yeah, let's hope so. And I think it's thanks to your dreaming that we are having these artworks like for real in real,
thank you very much.
physical way. So thank you for telling about your work. Maybe we can move on to Ozan's work, because I don't want to make it a very long talk. It can be like 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So maybe Zeynep can share the screen again, or Ozan on your own telephone, right?
Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
But
Yes.
no sound, I think, no?
No.
Okay, it's okay. I mean, actually, this is the third piece of the same series that started with a holographic installation. Like John said, I am also dreaming, like, realizing or making some different kind of installations that for me it is a hologram. It's an object that is floating in the air and it's translucent, or So, but in the real life, we can't make it, and technically it's not possible yet. But we can create something that we can experience. That we can get closer to this kind of experience. So it was the first piece that I created for the Europolia festival in Belgium, in Brussels, and also for the Central Istanbul. Yeah, it's correct. It's
yes,
Central
Istanbul. Yes.
Yeah. It was a holographic video installation, but my point was like to create a character that is trying to reaching us out, like talking to us or shouting or crying. It was all the my research about the bipolar state of mind. It started so that I found this piece suitable for this exhibition, because it's all about the cacophony. It's all about all the sounds, all the images we are hearing and we are experiencing right now. It's like bombing us. And this is my guy is experiencing all the this kind of stuff, and sometimes it's like a very nervous, sometimes it's like shouting. I'm trying to create a character that it's not digital, it's like I'm trying to break this boundary or ice wall or digital wall between the artwork and art piece and humans. So it is digital. It's a screen. It's even if it's like a holographic, like the image, but it's it's a screen. But when we obtain a connection between this bipolar fractal creature and the audience, that actually I prefer to say experiencer. No, it's not like observing. It's the experience they are experiencing the artwork. So it was the main point was like a state of bipolar mind, and then this creature is like experiencing this bipolar state of mind and connecting to us, you know, the sharing its experience with us. It was all about. So I created with this one 4 pieces about the bipolar mind, and it's a fractal, and I created it using a lot of many fractal structures, fractal images, and very simple coding, very simple formulas that make it simple, but it's so complicated, the feeling, you know. I want to keep it simple, the form, but it's moving, it's shouting, it's crying, and then it's being a character that almost real for me, you know. It's this state of mind, and yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. I think like what you all are doing is really difficult because you need to follow up the technological developments, like new programs. You need to learn about it, the tools,
and also research.
Yeah, and like in the beginning, you were saying that you were using Flash, etc. For instance, Flash is going to be that by the end of this year. So like it's really difficult. Like you need.
We should bury it.
Yes, like I think they are not going
make
to
a funeral.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that makes sense, like a funeral on Zoom with all the fans of Flash. So I was wondering, like, I have 2 questions actually to all of you. May you like, who wants to start first can just start. So being a digital artist is difficult in these ways. How do you think about preserving your artworks? Like if you make something in Flash, you want to preserve it for the future. Like, do you think about these kind of things while you are already producing the artwork? This is one question. And these days we all talk about, maybe I ask the second question later because it's all different topics. So about this preservation, carrying it to the future, like, do you already think about it right now? Maybe we can start with Claudia. I think she already thought about it. She has this face.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I just bought a lot of hard disk to just copy my videos that, I mean, basically some of them are real old already. It's funny because also the question if somebody wants to show them is, can I have the full HD version? And I'm like, there was no full HD version at that point. So, I mean, they actually look more and more crappy in the future. So you don't even know if they can be played in 10 years. So it's, I mean, it's, if I think about it, it's a disaster, but anyway, we all work with this media. So I mean, just let it go.
Yeah,
Go,
this
yeah.
is a part of it.
We will see.
Yeah, it's also nice to look back in like 10 years later to look back and, oh, by that time we didn't have this technology. Right now we have it. So it's also nice to have a look. It's kind of a historical like archive. John, do you have something to add?
Yeah, this is something I definitely think a lot about, especially during my master years. I experienced this, like I was producing a lot of work in the workshop and physical objects and artifacts and physical exhibitions. I was also doing a lot of fully digital work where I can, you know, just send a Google Drive link to in an exhibition in Japan or Spain or wherever, you know. So I looked at the results, and it seemed to me like digital works was much more rewarding, although I learned a lot from the workshop and physical processes, like storing work, like logistics of it. All those things became really challenging for me, and it's also hard to have a more you know, easy traveling life when you have so much, you know, physical objects with you. So after that, like realization, I very intentionally strategized my creative process around mostly like digital work, and also having a more minimalist lifestyle. So I don't have much, you know, objects with me. I can have my backpack with my computer and a, you know, a bag, and I can produce art anywhere and exhibit anywhere. So I try to, you know, leave the production side of the things to the people that I'm collaborating with, or the places that I'm exhibiting at. So I feel it much more freeing, doing this way. And for the future, like after this pandemic situation, also we came into a world where I was living at for a while now, so it wasn't so strange for me, but it felt good, so that people are more comfortable to collaborate with me now, because everybody is doing work over Zoom and things like that. So because some people or some studios or some places really require your like physical presence in there to work with you. So I feel like this is our time now.
Yeah, digital is the king
Yeah.
now.
That was my second question, actually. Like, will something change after Corona and after this too much digitalization? Like on your side, I think you are in a very advantaged position, because you already adapted to it and you work on the digital, and it's kind of freedom for you, like to work wherever you want to be. And,
I was already feeling the world was about to end, so I was just preparing myself for that.
Yeah, like I don't think it's a pessimistic thing.
Yeah.
So like, what do you think? Because in our previous talks, in different topics, everyone said, okay, now all the artists are going to produce in digital platforms, or all the exhibitions are going to be digital. So what's your vision about the future? Like, how is it going to be? People say that there won't be any galleries anymore. It will be all digital. Like, it's too much. But like, do you have some visions of the future?
I don't think that's, if I may, I don't think that's true. I think people are definitely, what am I trying to say? So a paintbrush and paint is very romantic, right? People like intuitively can understand how these images are being made, or they can understand pottery or sculpture. Like they can intuitively understand how that's put together. Whereas like if you're looking at John's work, if you don't have any basis of knowledge for that, you may not be able to wrap your head around it. And so I find the digital can be somewhat alienating. Like for me, that's something I'm always trying to overcome. Like, how can I transmute my own humanity and connect with people through a screen or through something that's being created on a computer? But there's always going to be people that will reject it fundamentally. And then also, because we're used to being on the screen, experiential things where people leave their homes and are immersed in a tactile physical experience, I think is more valuable now than ever. But I think it'll be, people will consciously want those things. But then I also think that there's going to be a lot more acceptance of digital art moving forward. So it'll be a really nice integration and blend, but there will always be a place for white walls.
Ozan, do you have something to add to it?
Yeah. I mean, it was for me also, it's a big problem, how we preserve it, how we send it. We used to send it with a USB. Now we are, uploading it to cloud and send the link to, even to the collectors. So, but for me, still, it's main important thing is the idea and text and the story. And the documentation, of course. So I think it will preserve itself, the idea or the story. So like I said, for me, it's a very important part is how you tell your story. So it's the digital medium, the programming or coding, whatever, or just using some kind of different materials or pottery or whatever. I think. The important thing is this story, this idea. So we will find a way to preserve it. I'm sure. So we always do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was thinking, we could have done this exhibition also in a physical environment, because you all send the documents in like via WeTransfer or some other sharing functions. So I think it's good to be like global with your works. It's easy for you because there's no shipment or logistic costs, and like we can make all these meetings in digital platforms. So, but still we need human touch, I think.
Yeah.
This is all
Yes.
the
Well, if
feedback
we
that
get
we
to get together now in Mixer Istanbul, drink our, the talk
Yes.
all about it's so much more fun, It's of course, but
Yeah. So I think after we close this, we will meet our team and have some drinks. But sorry
Cool.
for you. Maybe we all do it in our houses. I think this is all my questions. Do you have something to add on these things? Do you want to tell more about your works or something to add on it? No?
I don't know about anybody else, but I sometimes I fantasize about the servers going down and or my like external hard drives getting stolen and just like losing everything and being like, well, I guess I have to do this all again. Like just
You mean you have just one server? No, you can't have. You need both servers. One in I don't know, in Canada, and the other one for sure in Sweden. They never fail.
To be honest, I cloud, like if I have something that, I followed my intuition to a point of satisfaction, this feels right, this is an honest expression or the most honest expression I can make in this moment, I'll cloud that. But everything else, even yesterday, I lost a shit ton of work. Something froze, had to restart it. But I just have so much trust in the process, in all processes, and not even a trust, but a knowing that it's all unfolding exactly how it should. And so if I've lost something, it's just, there's something else that needs to come through. And I'm just trying to support that coming. And
Perfect.
Like the computer has just taught me to be so zen. It's like, I can't yell at like a processor. It just like, it's not.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Zen, like good luck with that. Let me know. Let me know how it goes. But yeah, I just zen out hard on the computer and.
Yeah, it's just like Ozan killed some computers in his in his past.
Oh.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah. So it's really nice. I'm so happy to have you guys here for the talk. So when we decided to make this exhibition, this was what we were looking for, to have a chat with people around the world, what they are doing and what they are working on. How do they react to this new world that we are in? So I think like apart from showing your works to our audience, we also missed this dialogue, and I hope this dialogue continues for the future, and we can make projects together in physical spaces. So I would like to thank all of you for participating in this talk, and I also would like to thanks to the other artists and mention their name. Balkan Karışman is here. Selçuk Artut was here. They are Raw Group. Kuflex, Meltem Şahin, George Vaidasol, Sırma Doruk, and Julie Neiman. I think this is all. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And I would like to thank the Mixer team who worked hard on bringing this project online.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I wish you can all watch the videos with the sound after we close this Zoom talk, and hope to see you in another meeting again.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to meet you all online, and I really enjoyed my time, and thanks for inviting us to the exhibit. I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, me too. It was great. Yeah, it's really nice to meet you, Claudia. I hope to see you soon around now.
Around the corner.
Yeah, big fan. So hope to see you.
Likewise.
Meet you in person. Yeah, have a drink together.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
That
and thanks to the Mixer team, of course. It's great. Really, really great.
Yeah, thank you so much for including me. I feel so grateful.
Thanks to you, and hope to see you like in person. At some point.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.